All right, ladies, I'm back for week 2. I put a pink shirt on because every time I film these videos, I do something where I'm trying to show if my back is rounded or straight. There's Chloe. And you can't tell because I'm always wearing like black or a dark color, and then we have the navy blue half wall. So this is not a workout shirt and it is wrinkled, but I was like, I'm gonna wear something that is a contrast. Okay, so we're on week 2. We are on Monday the 12th, and we are on upper body. So we have 4, 5, or 6 rounds, 12 bicep curls, 12 tricep kickbacks, 12 push-ups, 24 alternating chest flies, and then part 2, we have shoulder taps 4 reps. Okay, so we have bicep curls. Okay. Next we have tricep kickbacks. This is usually done with your lighter weight. Okay. Push-ups. I'm going to show you kneeling, but you can do kneeling, high plank position, or off of a height. And last we have alternating chest flies. Okay. I feel like something feels off about my thing. Maybe I was too far away. Does that feel better? I think that feels better. All right, Chloe, come on. She is so annoying if you've never seen her in my videos before. Look at her. And she like won't go away either. Love you. Okay, get down. Anyways, so bicep curls. So these are your basic bicep curls. So you're going to curl and you can, I always do it, no, she's scratching stuff. I always do it where I start to my side. A lot of people do it where they start in the front. It doesn't matter. I just learned this way, so that's the way I do it. But either way, you are going to curl up, squeeze your biceps, and then slow release down. Curl up, slow release. Curl up, slow release. Or like mine, I rotate up, slow release, rotate back. Rotate up, rotate back. Now notice that especially when I do it this way, everything is moving at the exact same time, okay? So you don't want to be like this, one's leading the other. You don't want to be hoisting up the weight. You don't want to be letting it swing if you start on your side. Everything should be very controlled. Squeeze at the top, slow lower down, okay? So if you are struggling to find a rhythm, or sometimes people go too fast because the weight is just too light. So if you're like ripping through these, you probably need a heavier weight. If you don't have a heavier weight, then you just need to make sure you take it slower. So the tempo I like to count is either 1 up, 1, 2 down, or 1, 2 up, 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2 up, 1, 2, 3 down. That makes sure that you are staying on the right tempo. Tricep kickbacks. So this, like I mentioned, is usually done with your lighter weight, and it is using that bent over stance that I talked about in week 1. So the stance, that's kind of like your deadlift stance where your butt goes back, your hips go back to the wall, your back is gonna fold toward the ground, it's gonna be straight, and your knees have a slight bend, okay? This is your bent over stance. So we are doing tricep kickbacks. So that is working the back of your arm. The opposite of your bicep is your tricep. So you're gonna start with your arms bent like this by your side. It's gonna look like this from the front. And you're just going to push backward, return, kick back, return, kick back, return, kick back, return, okay? So this is the same idea with the bicep curl, that you don't wanna be swinging your weight, you don't wanna be doing anything weird. You just wanna do nice and controlled back and return, okay? So what you're working is this. So watch this area, how there's a dimple there. That is what you should be engaging. So if you aren't hitting high enough or you're swinging through, you are going to engage it, but you're not going to get that full contraction. And I also have been told by Nick, my boyfriend, that my arm goes like really weirdly far back. I just kind of have odd elbows. So if mine looks like way farther than yours, it's just like the way my arm looks. Push-ups. Okay, so this has a lot of modifications. Just like your burpees has a lot, so do your push-ups. So your 3 different choices are, well, there's actually more than 3, but the 3 main choices are full push-up, which is done in high plank position, kneeling push-up, or off of a height, okay? So I'm gonna go from easiest to hardest. So your easiest position would be kneeling off of a height. So your upper body's lifted off the ground and you are kneeling. So when you do this, you are pressing the least amount of your body weight as possible pretty much, unless you were to stand up and do it off of a wall. I don't really recommend that because I think most people are way stronger than that. Like I think everybody can do what I'm doing right now, so I don't think there's a need to do that. But in general, this is gonna be your easiest one. So hands on the chair, on your knees, but you're gonna push forward. So instead of being on your kneecap, you're gonna drop your hips forward and you're gonna roll onto the part that's in front of your kneecap, okay? So you shouldn't be like right on the top of your knees like this, okay? You wanna roll forward so that you make a more of a straight line. So instead of bent line where your butt is kind of poked backward, you wanna kind of have more of a straight line where your hips are down, and you're just gonna move everything up and down at the same time, okay? Your next progression, these two can be kind of intermixed, fully off of a height or kneeling. So in theory, fully off of a height should be easier than kneeling, but I think a lot of it would have to do with your form more than what is easier. So maybe depending on what part of your push-up needs work, one of them might be better for you than the other. So off of a height, without kneeling, looks like this. So you're gonna be in a high plank position on your chair, and you're just gonna go up and down like this, okay? If you're somebody who does something really weird with your hips during a push-up, even though this style would be easier, it might be worse for you because you have less control. Whereas if you're kneeling, it takes a lot of the hips out of it. So if you're somebody who is like always really piking, you don't want to get on your chair and do this, or if you're always sagging, you don't want to sit there and do that either. It's harder to control it, although you're lifting less of your body weight doing it off of a height. When you are kneeling, because you're cutting now your leg in half, because you're on that knee, so remember, drop your hips, you're on the front of that knee, it's harder. You can still pike and you can still sink, but I think it's easier to control when you're only dealing with half of your lower body. So you're gonna lower together, rise together, lower together, rise together, okay? So again, I'm on the front of my kneecap, I'm not on the top, I'm on the front, and I'm letting everything lower together, pressing together, lower together, press together. Now you wanna make sure that your arms aren't too far out in front of you, that they're not way too wide, or they're not too far under your body, okay? You wanna just kind of make sure that it feels really comfortable. And now for your full, you're in full high plank position. So I'm up on my toes, high plank position. You can open your stance a little bit wider than normal. If you want, make sure your arms are in a nice, good position underneath your body. Lower and press up. Lower and press up. Everything has to move together. You don't want your butt up here. You don't want just your arms moving. You want to make sure that your chest is lowering and rising, and usually that will lead the way. So if your chest is too high, that usually means your hips are sunken. If your chest is hitting the down part first, that usually means that your hips are too high. So if you make sure your chest is nice and level, usually it kind of helps even out the rest of it. And if you've been with me, that was really good because I typically can't do a push-up because of my wrist. So that actually felt good. So yay for me. And alternating chest flies. So this one, depending, you could either use your, I don't know if you have a light, medium, heavy weight. I would use light to medium, or if you only have light and heavy. Depends on, you know, your fitness level, which one you're comfortable doing, because we're doing alternating. So that means that we're doing one at a time. So you actually end up doing a hold in the air. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult than the average chest fly. So if you feel like you're not that strong, you're going to want to go with your lighter weight. Okay. So you're going to be on your back, knees up. Both arms are going to be up above your chest. You're going to lower one side and return to the middle. Lower the other side and return to the middle. So that's what I'm talking about when I say there's going to be a hold. While this arm is moving, this arm is holding. And then when this arm is moving, this arm is holding. So you're doing more work, because normally you would just be going like this. But when you have single, you have that hold. So it's giving each arm extra work every time the other arm is moving, okay? So when you do lower, your elbow should bend, okay? So when I hit the floor, my arm and my elbow is on the floor. My forearm and my weight in my hand is off of the floor, okay? It doesn't go down like this. It stays up, return. Other side, squeeze. Other side, squeeze. So where you should be feeling this is right here. So it's your chest, but it kind of goes out this way. So you'll feel it. I always call it like side boob, armpit, chest area. It's going to be right here. Like if you do this, you'll feel that muscle when you close in. That's exactly what you're doing when you do your chest fly, okay? And you want to make sure that you keep that bent arm, because you can really hurt your elbow, especially once you start getting to the heavier weights, if you start letting it fully extend, okay? Because the weight is going to drag down and it's going to kind of like hyperextend your elbow. So you always want to make sure when you hit the ground, you are bent. You go up, you're bent, but it kind of straightens out at the top. And then as you come down, it bends again, okay? Now, part 2, we have shoulder taps. So this is for reps. So you're going to be either kneeling or high plank position, okay? So I'm just going to show you kneeling. So our ceiling, that little thing, is like not like plastered back to normal yet. So I keep finding like little pieces of ceiling falling. Okay, anyways, so I'm going to show you on my knees. So I'm on my knees, I roll forward, my arms are underneath my body, and I'm going to tap opposite hand to opposite shoulder, down, reverse, down. So tap, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? If I'm doing regular, I'm up on my toes, high plank, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, with this one, all you want to really make sure of is that you're not rocking. So when I release and I'm on one hand, I don't want to be doing a lot of this. Like my body should not be rocking, and I shouldn't be turning and opening up my chest either. Everything should stay as stiff as possible, and I'm just lifting my hand. That's all I'm doing, is lifting my hand to touch my shoulder, okay? So if you find that you're doing a high plank and you are moving a lot, go down to your knees, okay? And that is your Monday the 12th.